Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We are live, and I'm coming at you with five. Welcome again to Random Topic Tuesdays, only on channel GBoo2786 on Gavin Richard. If you're watching on my Facebook page or if you're watching on Periscope at Gavin Rich2786 and on YouTube, my other self-entitled YouTube channel. On today's topics, guys, we will be talking about Minnesota AG says case is not about revenge, referring to the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, or rather the Derek Chauvin murder trial. Derek Chauvin's case is set for sentencing. Also, we'll be talking about Ronnie O'Neal. This is a crazy case out in Florida who was found guilty in a double homicide of his girlfriend and daughter. And also, we'll just be talking about some other random topics today. In the meantime, guys, please be on the lookout for Naughty's Creole seasoning blends coming soon. Also, we will have a chance to talk and discuss about some other issues and other random topics that are going on. In the meantime, please get on up. Let us play that song and ask you to please go to your Apple iTunes store or Spotify and look for this song. Got to get on up. Of course, we always play that all the time. And I'm going to keep bumping it and bumping it each time we're in here. So you guys be safe and be blessed. We'll be back very shortly. It's time to get on up right here on Gavin Richard Presents.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
get on up and move your body with me. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something up. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Come on, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition. Sorry about that. Gavin Richard presents here on channel G-Boo 2786. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Let us begin. Of course, that was got to get on up. We're going to start talking about this case, guys. It's a tragic situation. Ronnie O'Neal III out in Tampa Bay, Florida, earlier today was found guilty in the double homicide murder of his girlfriend and his daughter. He was also found guilty of an attempted murder on his son, who actually testified in court against him. Somebody in the chat called him Kodak Black, Chief Kodak Black. When I looked at the video, nothing funny to be talking about. But this man, and I use that term lightly, acted as his own lawyer. Now, an old saying goes that a man who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client, and you will see in a second why that statement is so true. He would be the living embodiment of that statement, of that. So here's a clip from it, and you look at the judge, she's not even into him.
Oh, facts. I did kill Kenyatta Band. But I want you to tell it like it is if you're going to tell it. Khalil Brown told you I hit a 3.
So he admitted to killing his girlfriend. And then on top of that, he had witnesses that testified against him. He had his own son that testified against him. His neighbors testified against him. They didn't want us to be seen on trial, at the trial. This is beyond the fool. This is a dumb motherfucker. This is stupid. I'm going to go live right now. I think they have a video of him coming into court at the trial. They wrapped up closing arguments on Friday. Some people may be curious, would any attorney have represented Ronnie O'Neal? You know, why didn't attorneys represent him? I think he was too arrogant. I don't know much about the case, except I know he not only killed his daughter and his girlfriend, he tried to destroy the evidence and set the whole house on fire with his son there. And fortunately, his son lived to testify, and he actually stated, "You tried to kill me, Dad." So we'll go to CNN actually for the video here. I believe this is it. I hate when they show these ads because you know an ad is coming.
Two choices, sign it or sign it. That's one choice. And these crazy high interest rates.
Drop that pen. Before you sign that, raise your credit scores.
I really hate these ads.
Wow, my score went up.
Yeah, with those credit scores, we'll lower the interest.
Thanks, you saved me money.
Come on, stop that. We'll boost your credit scores and save free only with Experian. Go to Experian.com or get the app now.
I just saw my dad holding a shotgun and my mom, and mom screaming at him.
So he tried to tell his son to kill his
My
mom.
dad said to come in here and come kill this the B word, and then I went in the room, and then he handed me the shotgun and like helped me shoot it.
And he tried to burn his son. You can see the burn marks there.
He tried to light the match and put me on fire.
Did you see me beat your mom?
No.
Did you see me shoot your mom?
He's eligible for the death penalty. But yeah, but this was a whole shit show. What's up there?
The evidence is going to show that we are under some of the most vicious fabricating fictitious government you ever seen. By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderer in Tampa Bay. On March 18, 2018, occurred. And the evidence is going to show
The judge is shaking her head.
that law enforcement tampered with evidence to meet their such high burden of proof. Because originally,
Lord.
it wasn't enough. So we had
No, he's just a fucking sociopath.
Since it was such evident already, but we still had to tamper with evidence.
Now, his daughter, Ronnie O'Neal, had special needs and could not speak. So they said he used a hatchet to kill her. And he shot the wife using the son, then tried to kill the son by setting him on fire. And in his closing arguments, he admits that he killed Kenyatta, his wife, his girlfriend. Now, why would anybody want to represent? People always talk about this. How is it that? Well, before I finish, I'll show these videos.
Case number 2018 CF 004019, verdict form, Trial Division 1. We, the jury, find as follows as the count one of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder as charged. The defendant did actually possess and discharge a firearm causing death. We, the jury, find as follows as the count two of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and felony murder. The defendant carried, displayed, used, threatened to use, or attempted to use a weapon. We, the jury, find as follows the count three of the charge. The defendant is guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged. The defendant carried, displayed, used, threatened to use, or attempted to use a weapon. We, the jury, find as follows the count four of the charge. The defendant is guilty of arson of a dwelling as charged. We, the jury, find as follows the count five of the charge. The defendant is guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged. We, the jury, find as follows the count six of the charge. The defendant is guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged. We, the jury, find as follows the count seven of the charge. The defendant is guilty of resisting an officer without violence as charged. So say we all dated this 21st day of June 2021.
All right, very good. Thank you, members of the jury. So now that you have found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder, that means we will be going into a penalty phase. However, I'm going to give you guys the day off tomorrow. All right, there's some things we need to do as far as to get ready for that phase of the trial, which will begin Wednesday at 9 a.m. I anticipate that we will be week, so you don't need to worry about that, but I'm going to give you guys the day off tomorrow. All right, so you can go tend to your personal affairs, do what you need to do, and then we'll see you back here Wednesday at 9 a.m. Since you are still serving as a juror in this case, however, the rules still apply. You can't talk to anyone about this case. You can't do any research about this case. You can't watch, listen to, read any news accounts related to this case. And that will be the rule until I discharge you completely as a juror. All right? So with that, I think the pizza did arrive.
Is that he has been found guilty on multiple charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, an attempted first-degree murder, which was on the son, guilty of arson, 2 counts of aggravated child abuse on the 2 kids, and resisting an officer without violence. So he likely is facing, if it's a penalty phase, then that means he is eligible for the death penalty. And so the judge...
Guilty on all counts. This evening, a Hillsborough County jury convicted Ronnie O'Neal of murdering his girlfriend, their daughter, and nearly killing his son. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez was at the courthouse.
The son is adopted now by the police.
Many expected it to be a late night tonight, but around dinner time tonight, the jury said they had a verdict.
All rise,
Ronnie O'Neal did not appear nervous when the jury walked in to render their verdict. The jury deliberated for about 5 hours today. Here's what they had to say. Take a look.
We, the jury, find as follows as the count one of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder as charged. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 2 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and felony murder. We, the jury, find as follows the count 3 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged.
O'Neal is now convicted of killing his girlfriend, Kenyatta Barron, his 9-year-old daughter, and attempting to kill his 8-year-old son. The jury will be back on Wednesday to begin the penalty phase of the trial. Now, you might know that O'Neal actually represented himself during the guilt phase of this trial. The judge strongly suggesting that he have a lawyer take over during this penalty phase. He did not make a decision tonight. In Tampa, Gloria Gomez, Fox 13 News.
So now that O'Neal has been convicted, he faces the death penalty. Be back in court on Wednesday for the beginning of that penalty phase. That could last the rest of the week.
I'm surprised it took that long. 5 hours? Now, what's interesting, too, is that he actually, and I'll just play this last video because I want to get to other things. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but people have asked me, why would you represent someone that's guilty? A lot of people ask that question of criminal defense lawyers. Well, here's the thing. Everybody that is accused of a crime, regardless if they're innocent or guilty, are entitled to representation. And not only are they entitled to representation, the government has to do its job in assuring itself that the defendant's due process rights are not violated. So regardless if you don't like someone, regardless if you feel a person, like I always talk about the Bill Cosby case. I use that example, although this is a different set of circumstances. But we notice that a lot of people think he's guilty simply because they don't like that person. And it can't be about whether you like someone or you think they're an asshole. You only needed to find someone guilty based off what the evidence is. So the evidence in this case, though, was overwhelming from my knowledge, because there were children. Witness was obviously involved, the intended victim, the young boy in this case, was still alive and testified as to what happened. And I don't know who, they don't list who the detective was, but
his son said his father stabbed him and that he heard him kill his mom and sister. That testimony yesterday didn't make Ronnie O'Neal cry in court. But there were tears today from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's detective who adopted O'Neal's son. 10 Tampa Bay's Bo Zimmer was in the courthouse when O'Neal and the sheriff's detective came face to face for what was an emotional cross-examination.
And Ryan, we all knew this had the potential to be a very powerful moment. And of course, it certainly was.
The detective, who we're not identifying because of his relation to the victim, told the jury he only had limited involvement in the actual case. It wasn't until weeks later when he visited the hospital to bring little Ronnie a Bucks jersey and signed football when a relationship was born.
As I was leaving, Ronnie had asked if I'd stay and watch a movie with him.
O'Neal's son eventually went into foster care, but when his many medical appointments became too much, a guardian ad litem approached the detective to see if he might know someone who would be a better fit.
I told her that my wife and I'd be happy to take him.
And did you take Ronnie into your home?
He came to the house about an hour and a half later.
It was then Mr. O'Neal's turn to cross-examine. He'd previously made accusations against law enforcement of possibly coaching his son on what to say to make him look bad. But when it was his turn to ask questions.
Thank you, sir. All that you've done. I mean it from the bottom of my heart to the top of my head. No further questions, young.
And the prosecution is expected to wrap up their case tomorrow morning. And from there, we're told the jury could begin deliberations by early next week, and we could have a verdict soon after.
Oh, man. This is just a sad story all around. And like I said earlier, you represent people, whether they're guilty or innocent. People have asked, would I represent a guilty client? Look, I already have. So have countless others. How can I do it? Easy. $1,500 or more, depending on what it is, depending on the charge. $500 an hour, $5,000 retainer or better. It's it's business at the end of the day. And in a situation like that, it obviously would be more than $5,000 to handle a case like this because it's a death penalty case. What's up? I see a lot of people. Terrence Monger, Conscious Outlaw, 44 watching me. How you doing? 444 watching me. Steve Mack. Yeah, I see y'all. In a situation as tragic as it is, I feel sorry for the boy because he witnessed the deaths of not only his mother and sister, but he will live for the rest of his life scarred because his dad, the man that gave him life, tried to kill him. And his whole life has been turned upside down by this fake ass Kodak Black motherfucker. I'm not representing the guy, so I can say it. And I'm as a criminal defense lawyer, we represent clients who do stuff all the time, whether it's petty theft, whether it's rape. I've represented rapists, I've represented armed robbers, I've represented thieves, domestic violence situations. I've had a bunch. And you do that because it's their constitutional right. The ability, not the ability, but they have an obligation to ensure that the accused has a fair and impartial trial. And my job as an attorney is to ensure that they do its job. And that's the way you look at it. You know, as tragic as any situation, it could be petty theft, it could be terrorism. Now, some cases, what I get involved in, you know, as attorneys, we have the ability to say, I won't take this case, I'm not going to do this one. But a situation like this, man, this was just awful. I really, my heart goes out to the family, to little Ronnie, who was almost murdered, to the family of the parents of the girl, of the wife that was killed. I feel sorry for her as well, for the mother and father as well, if they're still around. My guess is that they're not, because she didn't have, if they couldn't put him in had to put him in foster care, he probably doesn't have any other relatives, or I don't know if they didn't want to do it, what the situation was, but I'm assuming that they didn't. At any rate, his life is turned upside down in some, but yeah, praying for that. So on what the sentencing is. So anyway, I got to move into some other topics. And you see the ticker at the bottom, guys. I'm also, if you're interested in advertising, you can send an email there. Next thing I wanted to talk about, we're having some technical issues, man. Messing them up with the stream. All right, you guys can see me. Everybody leave a thumbs up in the chat if you can see me. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. What's up, dark skin brother? Okay. Minnesota AG says case is not about revenge. Now, I didn't put this all in that, but in the description. But Minnesota Attorney General of Minnesota says don't go heavy on him, referring to Derek Chauvin. Now, the AG, Keith Ellison, I talked about him a while back. If you remember, he did a sit down with 60 Minutes after the verdict in the Derek Chauvin murder case, where Chauvin was convicted of second-degree murder on George Floyd. His sentencing is actually this week. It will be this weekend, Friday and Saturday, I'm assuming, because there's a lot that's going to go on in the sentencing phase. But he had this very interesting comment that he made. This is coming from the Daily Mail. He says, don't go heavy on him. Minnesota AG says judge should not make an example of Derek Chauvin when he sentences him on Friday, because it's not about revenge. So the Minnesota Attorney General, of course, has spoken in the past saying that he has compassion for Derek Chauvin after he was convicted of murdering George Floyd, and said he hopes the judge won't go light or heavy because Friday's sentencing isn't about revenge. Chauvin, who's 45, is facing a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison after he was convicted in April of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. Now, he told 60 Minutes on Sunday that despite his feelings of gratitude and satisfaction at seeing Chauvin convicted, he also felt sympathy for the cop. I spent 16 years as a criminal defense lawyer, so I will admit I feel a little bad for the defendant. I think he deserved to be convicted, but he's a human being, he told Scott Pelley. I am not in any way wavering from my responsibility, but I hope we never forget people who are defendants in our criminal justice system, that they are human beings. They're people. I mean, George Floyd was a human being. And so I'm not going to ever forget that everybody in this process is a person, the Attorney General said. Now, I got to say this. Look, the state, he goes further. Look, the state never wanted revenge against Derek Chauvin. We just wanted accountability. The lawyer added that despite the shocking video, which was beamed around the world, he was never.
His son said his father stabbed him and that he hurt He heard him kill his mom and
found
sister.
guilty. I was never convinced we were going to win this case until we heard the verdict of guilty. I remember what happened in the Rodney King case when I was a pretty young man, young lawyer. Okay. Let me tell you guys why this is problematic. This is highly problematic in this instance. First and foremost, as an attorney general, you do not and should not make any statements about sentencing, about penalties, before the sentencing hearing has commenced. And for Keith Ellison as an attorney general, a man who by his own admission has been practicing law for over 30-something years, starting out as a criminal defense lawyer, he knows better than to open his big fat mouth and make comments like this. This should not be about his compassion and feelings about who the person is and Derek Chauvin. You have a responsibility as the AG. Now, as the attorney general, I want y'all to think about this. He's not the district attorney of that county up in Minnesota. I don't know what county. I can't remember what county that is in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he was convicted. If you do, let me know. But he is the chief prosecutor of the entire state. The entire state of Minnesota. That means whenever there's a case, when they got to prosecute it, if he has to represent the state, the AG's off, the district attorneys represent that county, that district. He represents the entire state. Hennepin County, that's the county he was in. He was a former congressman. I can tell he was worthless, Mr. H. Are you up there? And yeah, I remember he's a former congressman. That's right. For this Negro to actually say this, and you're not even in the sentencing phase, man. You're not even in a sentencing phase, and you're telling the judge you hope you go light on him. What the hell are you doing? I mean, them butter biscuits got to be good. And this was a guy that was, I'm looking at this, when he ran for, when he joined the race for the chair of the DNC, he was actually criticized for his past statements and his affiliation with the Nation of Islam. So I'm assuming he's trying to get back in the good party of the Democrats, getting Massa's good graces by making these remarks. And when you make these little slide remarks and you say bullshit like this, why it pisses me off is that you know that a sentencing is coming up. And, there should be a gag order. A judge should always issue. I mean, usually he issues it for, typically in trials like this, because the trial is over, they'll issue it during the trial. Nobody is to talk to the media in any way, shape, or form. Have no conversations with the media. You saw that with the Amber Geiger case, and you remember Tammy the Mammy, how she issued a gag order, and everybody was cheering for her when she got up out of her seat when the defense moved for a mistrial and a dismissal because the prosecutor gave a interview with the local police with the local news out in Dallas. That's what launched her in fame. And what happened with her afterwards? She's given a murderer a Bible, hugging her while she's coming down the steps with flip-flops on. I mean what I say. Just looking at this still picture, it looks like he's lost. Don't go heavy or hard on. Don't go heavy on him. He went heavy on George Floyd. He went heavy on George Floyd. He ought to be embarrassed for saying this. You know, you should have some decency to at least wait. I would rather you wait. If you want to say something like that, wait until after the trial, even after the trial is finished. After the sentencing phase, excuse me. After everything is said and done. They are tipping the scales in this case, brothers and sisters, because what's going to happen eventually, I'm almost for sure, because certain, Chauvin is not going to do. This is just my opinion. And I may not be 100% correct. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't see Derek Chauvin doing 40 years. I hate ads. They don't even have a mute button on this.
Sound that fits you. JBL True Wireless Headphones.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m.
Now this is the verdict.
Foreperson,
now,
juror number 19.
Remember when they spoke to the press? That brother, that prosecutor, who I'm talking about, the actual prosecutor. I don't know his name. I can't remember. In George Floyd, but he was the ADA that worked with the AG. Jerry Blackwell, that's his name. I'm sure this brother, he did a better job. I mean, look, those guys, you never saw Derek Ellison actually do the trial. You never saw him. You never saw Derek Ellison. He had nothing to do in that case. The ADAs, the AGs. This is the This was the prosecutor, the assistant attorney general that prosecuted Derek Chauvin. This black man. He did a far better job, I'm sure, than what Derek Ellison would do. That would have done. And I know, I'm hoping that this brother, he can't say anything because that's his boss, but I'm sure he's saying to himself, what's this motherfucker doing? I'm embarrassed. I'm literally embarrassed as an attorney. I'm not a former prosecutor or anything like that, but for somebody like this who is supposed to be a professional, saying, I hope you, the judge, don't go hard or easy on him. This ain't about revenge. You're right about that. It's not about revenge, but it's about justice. A life was taken. And when you looked at that video, Chauvin and those other officers, they did not have mercy on George Floyd. Regardless of what Floyd did in his life, regardless of what was in his system, didn't matter. When he was handcuffed, you could have, and you even had him in the cop car, you took him out the cop car, put him on his stomach, and laid on him for several minutes, 9 minutes and counting, from what we've seen, till the man stopped breathing and was unresponsive. This was pathetic. Thank you, Conscious Outlaw. You look like Papa Shango in that. That's Papa Shango. Y'all remember the old WWF character? I'm looking at your avatar. Yes, Papa Shango was played by the Godfather. No, but this was embarrassing. So we're gonna see what happens. That's conscious outlaw. I'm just looking at your avatar, man. Look at the avatar. Look at that. All right, let me get off here. Let me take this off before Vince McMahon will sue me. Yeah, although that was a horrible character. A lot of people didn't like Papa Shango. Bret Hart thinks he was the worst concept WWF created. So, man, this was embarrassing. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. We will see what will happen in the next couple of days, because the sentencing hearing is going to be Friday. I think they picked it on the weekend for that reason. They know people are going to be home from work, so they're not going to be people out in the streets like talking about it, Friday and Saturday while it's going on. So I could imagine it's going to be prolonged, but he is not going to get no 40 years in prison. So everybody that was doing all that celebrating, I told you all, yes, it was good that he got a conviction, but it's not over with. You say you still watch WWE today. I have watched it off and on, and honestly, it's gotten worse. AEW is pretty good. I think when Vince McMahon bought out WCW, that's when wrestling suffered, because there was no competition. So now you have all of these people, you have one promoter that's promoting mainstream wrestling. Right. Right, computer robots, what's up? So yeah, it's just sickening to see this. So we'll find out what happens and keep you all posted, but keep your fingers crossed. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and people gonna ask me what do I think about it, and I mean, it is what it is. The judge is gonna consider everything from the nature of the crimes. They'll also consider, I'm sure, his military service will be taken in consideration, and all of this other stuff, the victim mitigating circumstances. So all of that's going to be, Maxine Waters' comments about the trial, what was going on outside. I know that he has an appeal. They filed their notice of it. So who knows what's going to take place? We just wait and see. All right, but the next thing I want to talk about finally, and I told you I wasn't going to be long. I'm going to just do 15 minutes of it. We got to talk about where is that? Queen Okra. I had this up here. I hate when they do this. We're going to be talking about Queen Okra. And Queen Okra wants to help out Black men. In particular, Black fathers. Now, if you have seen this article comes from Black enterprise. Oprah Winfrey celebrates Black fatherhood in her own special. Oprah Winfrey is celebrating Black fatherhood. This was a special she co-hosted with actor Sterling K. Brown called Honoring Our King, Celebrating Black Fatherhood. And apparently, she says this is something that she wanted to do for some time to help break the narrative and stigma that have plagued Black fathers for decades. I am the product of a Black father. Had my father not stepped in and taken responsibility for me, I certainly would not be sitting here talking to you or have the life that I have, she continued. So I wanted the rest of the world to see that, to know that, to hear it, to feel it, and to have Black fathers validated. She recalled her parents' history and how her father rose to the occasion. My mother and father never married. They had sex one time. He gets a letter, gets a letter after I'm born saying, "Send money, you have a daughter." And the reason he did, he said, is because it could have been him. And the responsibility he took for me, not just a responsibility, but care and love and direction and support as a young teenage girl, is the thing that made the difference in me, being who I am now or somebody you would have never, ever heard of. I had this idea for several years. I wanted to elevate, lift up, and show the other side of the narrative that we have all been hearing about Black fathers not participating in their kids' lives and Black fathers not being there. Winfrey told Entertainment Tonight. Okay. Okra. This is now you guys know number one with OWN. OWN and it was never, according to my understanding, Oprah's network. She did not own or control that network at that time. She has no control over it now. I believe it's owned by Discovery now. Harpo Productions owns only 5%. Discovery owns 95%. She is the CEO of the channel, meaning she is the chief executive officer, which means that she is only an officer and an employee of her own company that bears her name. Simone Brothers murder trial. You know what? I saw a video about it. I saw the mother jump out. I don't know too much about the facts and details of the case. I know that the charges were dismissed for a lack of evidence, but I may do a video on that later, Lamiko, and talk about it. But Oprah Winfrey, we all know, has a history of speaking down on Black men. I think she's completely full of shit, and she knows this, and her career has been shot because she has been criticized by many for not having African American men, particular Black rappers, on her television show. She has done shows on her show. She had Mark Furman. I'll never forget this. She had all of these people come on, but would not allow O.J. Simpson on the channel unless he confessed to committing the murder. She wrote here, oh, and this is an article from the Hollywood Reporter. Let me just give you a little history. All right. She said this. This is the Hollywood Reporter. She said, she said, I have a dream of O.J. Simpson confessing to me. Now, this is when her show had ended. And I'm going to make that happen, people. She's told, she got cheered. This was in Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center. And she got cheers for doing this. I don't just want the interview. I want the interview on the condition that you are ready, Mr. Simpson. Investigation discoveries. Paula Zahn interviewed Winfrey for Thursday's marquee session, and Winfrey stressed that she is now fully committed to growing OWN after a rocky start that recently saw CEO Christina Norman ousted. Former HarperCollins publisher Judith Reagan reportedly secured just such a confession from Simpson for a proposed book and Fox television special, but the outcry over If I Did It grew so vociferous that Fox and HarperCollins were forced to scrap the project. Now, I remember when this came out, that If I Did It thing. And I remember a few years ago, if you guys remember the O.J. People versus O.J. Simpson television show that came out in 2016. Now, what a lot of people don't know, because I remember the confession that they're talking about, that video where he had admitted to doing it. That was done because, number one, they had offered O.J. Simpson some money to do a book deal because, you know, his money was tied up with lawsuits. The Goldman family had come after him from the 1990s in a civil verdict. You know, book publishers, he had no way of making any money other than his pension from the years in the NFL. So his lifestyle had changed dramatically. Remember, he was making all of those Naked Gun movies. He was doing commercials and all of this stuff. And that all shut down when he was accused of murdering his wife, his ex-wife, and Ron Goldman. But I remember, and you guys can check out Tariq Nasheed's analysis on that trial, but I'm telling you guys, O.J. Simpson did not kill Ron and Nicole. I don't care what television specials they have. That was a hoax. That was something scripted. And even O.J. himself stated that it was scripted. And if you looked at the audience, she's always been a mammy. And if you looked at the reaction to on the tape, different people, how they reacted, and I'm not going to share it, but you know, people were cheering for her, people were excited, blacks were excited. Look at her. Look how she's reacting. Now she's pissed off. No, he didn't. Read the books Legacy of Deception by Steve Singulaire and read Double Cross for Blood by Dr. Henry Johnson. They go in detail about that case, but he did not confess. That was something that he was put up to. I mean, although I would never have been involved with it, but when they throw money at you and people are desperate, you need your money, people will do all kinds of shit. So I remember when they had that book come out and he even admitted it was not a confession. He said he didn't confess. He said the book, and this was in 2006. This is what they were talking about. So this was from 2006, and they sat on this for 10 years. This article is from November 22nd, 2006. I remember reading this. It says that he was reported an advance payment figure of $3.5 million was inaccurate. He said it was not a confession to the murders of his ex-wife and her friend, and that the title wasn't his idea, he said in a radio interview. He said, although he wouldn't specify how much he was paid, he did say it was a windfall that would go mainly to pay bills and support his children. In a Miami interview, he didn't say how much he made, but he states here, again, point blank, if he killed the pair, absolutely not. And I maintained my innocence from day one. He replied, adding a little later, no matter what everybody wants to say, I didn't do it. He also told the writer, I have nothing to confess. So this was a ghostwriter that did this. This was not OJ that did it. But niggas and idiots and white folks who always want to, those that will get bullied into believing that, and their puppets like Oprah Winfrey, of course, will keep pushing this narrative. It's Gavin, not Garvin, dark-skinned brother. Did you hear about one of her houses getting burned down in California? No, I didn't. Was that from last year? But this goes to how much of a liar and a fraud that, Oprah Winfrey is. And let's not forget what she did with Michael Jackson, how she disrespected Phil Jackson. She interviewed Michael back in the 90s, asking him all sorts of questions. And he even performed for her a little impromptu. And yet, she decided to do this interview with these two suckers. So you don't care about black men, Oprah. Like Snoop Dogg told your partner, oh yeah, I said it, partner, Gayle King, y'all don't go to Harvey Weinstein or any other of these white boys when they're accused of stuff. She hasn't said anything about Bill Cosby, nothing positive. And even though Bill Cosby was always on Oprah Winfrey's show, always. And I know Oprah had to, I know that Oprah, of course, had to throw stuff at Bill, and Snoop Dogg, he had to keep quiet. He couldn't say what he truly wanted to, he said what he wanted to say. He spoke from the heart about Gayle King because remember, Gayle talked shit about Kobe. And Gayle did some stupid stuff again with regards to sabotaging this talk about reparations. I saw TD Hip Hop, shout out to that brother, where he did a video how she sabotaged the talk on reparations for blacks. And she said something. We're tired of these freaking figureheads. And she's getting paid a lot of money. Like Gayle King is getting paid a lot of money working at CBS, to the point, if y'all remember, a lot of people weren't happy working at CBS that she had all this money she was making. And that was done from what? When she interviewed R. Kelly. They signed her to an extension. They go to these handkerchief heads and bootlicks because if they said anything close to what, as negative as they're saying, they will always get a black person, a person of color, to go and say something negative against another black person, because if they said it how they would say it, they would be perceived as racist. And that's why they get Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King. Just like I showed y'all that interview, if y'all remember when Mike Tyson was being interviewed by that coon up in Canada. And he asked Michael, what are you doing? There's a race for mayor. We know you're a convicted rapist. How would you respond to that? And Mike let him have it. One thing I remember too, she got criticized. I'm talking about Oprah. And I remember what she did with Bill. Bill Cosby did a lot for her, a lot for a lot of people. And this is we're talking about black fathers. Like I said on Sunday, he's still America's favorite dad. That doesn't change what some verdict, what some white people say. But he thanks Snoop Dogg for condemning Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King on his behalf. And Snoop spoke from the heart. We know he had to retract it because he was under contract with Viacom. Gayle King works for Viacom. So he had to issue his apology. But remember, Cosby said this at Snoop, when they brought me to my gated community, and Cosby is not tweeting. Remember, Oprah came out with them fake ass tears, crying like a Pekingese. She is not doing well. Talk about Gayle King. She is receiving tweets from Bill Cosby. He's not tweeting from jail. These are his PR people. When they brought me to my gated community and placed me inside of my penthouse, they didn't win, nor did they silence me. It's so sad and disappointing that successful Black women are being used to tarnish the image and death and legacy of successful Black men, even in death. Are these people that in need of fame, ratings, and or money? On behalf of myself, Camille, and my family, thank you, and thank you. My heartfelt prayers are with Kobe and his family, as well as with Michael Jackson and his family. May their legacies live forever. Remember what Gayle did.
It's been said that his legacy is complicated because of the sexual assault charge, which was dismissed in 2003, 2004. Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. Even if there's a few times that we've been at a club at the same time. Kobe's not the kind of guy, never been like, you know, Lisa, go get that girl or tell her or send her this. I have other NBA friends that are like that. Kobe's, he was never like that. I just never have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. I just don't believe
you wouldn't
that.
see it,
and
Lisa. You asked the question. Lisa gave you an answer, and you kept going on. You had these two punks, these lying sissies, come on and falsely accuse Michael. Did no research, did no investigation, but had him come on just to plug your punk ass show. When you had that deal with Apple. And then you came, let's not forget, you also came at Russell Simmons. Russell had stuff to say, and Russell left the country. And I don't blame, I don't know the details of his guilt or innocence. A lot of people say he looks guilty by doing that, but I think Russell saw the writing on the wall. And she had to step away.
She's going to reveal her new book club selection. She's in the middle of her 2020 Vision Your Life in Focus tour, promoting wellness all around the country.
What did Oprah have to say? What about
this? Included.
What about the scandal?
Lady, that women are just warriors.
We are warriors. All of us. I mean, for real. That is what I learned. I didn't just learn how strong I was. I really learned as a whole how strong women are. And
story about the CEO.
Yes, I know 2 months is extraordinary.
Yeah,
I started out giving. I was being pressured. So what do you? Assaulted from 9. Important for people to hear from you personally, for you to address it. I know that you've.
I don't own the rights to this video. For the record, I know it's owned by Viacom CBS, but I'm only using it for purposes of commentary under the under the Fair Use Act of 1976. That's the only reason I'm showing this video. But remember this.
Because you decided
got
to
pressure.
take your name off the documentary involving Russell Simmons and his alleged abuse of women. And I think people question, why would Oprah, of all people, do that? Well, first of all, I just want to say that I have lived Me Too since I was 9 years old and was raped at 9, sexually assaulted from 9 to 14, and then raped again at 14. And nothing is harder than standing up for yourself when you're 14 and not being believed.
Okay, let me just say this, and I'm not putting down any woman who has been sexually assaulted, harassed, or raped in any way, but what happened to you, while it's unfortunate and it's tragic, does not mean every other woman's story is the same. Or that when a woman comes forward, she should automatically be believed. That's it. That's not how the American justice system works.
And I was not believed by my own family. So I stand in support of these women. I believe them. It was a hard decision because I knew that Russell Simmons had started publicly pressuring me, and that me pulling out of the documentary was going to look like I was being pressured.
So what do you
He
say?
publicly
and privately pressured.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so what do I say to that is, for me, and Gail knows this, in all experiences of my life, and particularly when I'm in a crisis, the only question for me is what is the right thing to do
For you.
for me.
Yeah.
And so before the public pressure had started, before Russell had gone with his Instagram, I had gone to the filmmakers and I had said to them, Houston, I think we have a problem here, because new information had come forward the very first time this was announced. Yeah. And I said, I think we need to pull out of Sundance.
Notice they put these documentaries, this Trust and Believe, all of it is at a festival, Sundance. Michael Jackson's thing, Leaving Neverland, I believe, was at Sundance. All of those guys, notice that. And the guy who created the Sundance Festival, if I'm not mistaken, he was accused of sexual assault. Sterling Van Wagen. Yes. Hold on, let's put it up. Hold on, we're going to pull it up. First them. Oh, yeah. Let's go. He pled guilty to sexually abusing a child on two occasions when she was 7 and 9. And he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He co-founded Sundance with Robert Redford. Now, he's not affiliated with the Sundance Institute for more than 20 years now, but he was sentenced to 6 years in prison, 6 years to life in prison after pleading guilty to sexually abusing a minor. Back in 2013 and 2015. Did Oprah have a documentary for this? Oh, she didn't say anything about that. But now she wants to play the victim and change the narrative and wants to get back in the good graces of Black America and Black men and say, I love you. No, we're not having it. We are not having it, Okra. You had your chance for over 20-something years. And let's not forget also, just as an interviewer and host, she was awful. I'll never forget when she had Ludacris on her show when they were promoting Crash. And she used her opportunity to diss Ludacris and rap, hip hop. I'll talk about Bill Cosby being bad, but Oprah was horrible to Black men who were on that channel. She was openly criticized for not having rappers on her show. She didn't have Ice Cube on her show when she did when she talked about his television series, Black or White. This is from ABC News. I've been involved. This is what Ice Cube had to say. He says, if the big guns of the hip hop, it says, if the big guns of the hip hop scene had their way, Oprah Winfrey's career to steal the title of James Frey's fictionalized memoir would be in a million little pieces. With the fallout from her ill-fated endorsement of Frey's bestseller still ringing in her ears, as well as stinging criticism from rappers Ludacris and 50 Cent, Winfrey has a fresh foe from the world of popular rap, Ice Cube. I've been involved in 3 projects pitched to her, but I've never been asked to participate, Cube said in July's issue of FHM. I'm about to get off here because I don't want to spend too much time. But you guys look at this. For Barbershop, she had Cedric the Entertainer and Eve on, but I wasn't invited, the 36-year-old rapper actor told FHM. She's had damn rapists, child molesters, and lying authors on her show. And if I'm not a rag to riches story for her, who is? Cube has also starred in Friday and Three Kings and said that Oprah seemed to have a problem with hip-hop. 50 Cent seems to agree. Last month, New York-born 50 claimed Winfrey rarely invites rappers on her talk show. I think she caters to older white women, he said. Ludacris, a.k.a. Chris Bridges, began the anti-Oprah sentiment in the May issue of GQ magazine when he complained the talk show host was unfair to him when he appeared on her show with other cast members from the Best Picture Oscar winner, Crash. Nevertheless, you had some columnists who praised Winfrey and said that her booking policy was based more on demographics. But she did have Kanye West come on. She did have, but look, she had all these people come on. Damn, she's had Eddie Murphy on multiple times. Ice Cube is an empire in and of it. I don't think Jay-Z is. I think Beyonce has been on there, but 50 Cent, if you're talking about demographics, white people know who hip hop artists are, like 50 Cent and Jay-Z. They damn sure know Ice Cube because they're the biggest buyers of this music. Hello, King BJ. So her trying to change the demographic for black men, she had 30 years and blew it. This chance that she had now is to a point where I really don't care. And I think many others feel the same way. So having said all that, guys, I'm about to wrap it up. But before I do, I want to send a special birthday wish out to my girl, Tanisha. I don't know if she's watching, but happy birthday, baby. Enjoy this trip around the sun. And very special lady. Yes, happy birthday to her. It's, I don't want to say her age on here, but you enjoy the rest of your day. It's a special day for you. And I wish you nothing but the best. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day at your spa right now. So I guess we could all sing. If you all in the comment box, I want you to drop a happy birthday to Tanisha. So just say, we can't because they'll give you a copyright strike. Happy birthday to you, Tanisha. Okay, and you enjoy the rest of the day. Happy birthday, babe. Okay. guys, that is it for me. This has been another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. And right now, as it's time to get off here, I will be back Thursday. I guess we'll do another show. I don't know exactly what we'll do. But yeah, thank you. Happy birthday. You guys, please donate to the Cash App. As always, you see that in the purple bubble above. Gavin Richard Esquire, that is the Cash App. This channel is not monetized. So whenever you guys donate to the channel, donate to the Cash App. I'd appreciate it to keep things going, keep me motivated to even do more shows. I will try and be changing the setup soon, especially buying some new equipment again. And I will see you on the next one. So I'll holla. Peace. And in the meantime, let us get on up. So good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see y'all Thursday. I don't know what the topic will be, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. And I know Sean will likely drop by. And y'all check out Sean's website as well, his YouTube channel, Sean James. Buy his books. And also, if you are a Black business owner or business owner in general, and you need someone or somewhere to advertise your products, you can email me as well. I do advertisements for those things as well. Email me for any special rates. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You guys be safe and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the buddy hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby, feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.